Patience in youth is wisdom in old age. To know others is wisdom. To know yourself is enlightenment. He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior. Do not seek to follow in the footsteps of the wise. Seek what they sought. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Silence is a source of great strength. A man's greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time he falls. Those who are content with little are rich indeed. The wise man avoids all extremes. Life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated. A good traveler has no fixed plans and is not intent on arriving. Great acts are made up of small deeds. The superior man is modest in his speech, but exceeds in his actions. Knowledge is not as powerful as its application. Do not impose on others what you do not wish for yourself. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. True mastery is gained by letting things go their own way. To a mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders. The man who moves a mountain begins by carrying small stones. Health is the greatest possession. Contentment is the greatest treasure. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. He who knows when enough is enough will always have enough. To lead others, one must first lead oneself. What the superior man seeks is in himself. What the inferior man seeks is in others. It is better to light a small candle than to curse the darkness. Wisdom begins in wonder. The softest things in the world overcome the hardest things in the world. To be wronged is nothing unless you continue to remember it. Time is a created thing. To say, "I don't have time," is like saying, "I don't want to." Knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. A fool despises good counsel, but a wise man takes it to heart. A wise man adapts himself to circumstances, as water shapes itself to the vessel that contains it. Happiness is not in possessing, but in being. He who blames others has a long way to go on his journey. A man who has committed a mistake and doesn't correct it is committing another mistake. If you are patient in one moment of anger, you will escape 100 days of sorrow. The wise man is one who, knowing that knowledge is endless, humbly pursues it forever. He who stands on tiptoe does not stand firm. It is not the destination, but the journey that matters. True wealth is living in simplicity with inner peace. Better a diamond with a flaw than a pebble without. Act without expectation. A man should look for what is, not for what he thinks should be. A wise man makes his own decisions, but an ignorant man mindlessly follows the crowd. Respect yourself, and others will respect you. Before you embark on a journey of revenge, dig 2 graves. The superior man thinks always of virtue. The common man thinks of comfort. Only when we are no longer afraid do we begin to live. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. Knowing what you have is better than chasing what you think you need. Hold on to your integrity, for that is the foundation of all wisdom. The wise do not speak of others' faults. When there is no enemy within, the enemies outside cannot hurt you. Do not be afraid of growing slowly. Be afraid only of standing still. To see things in the seed, that is genius. Be not afraid of going slowly. Be afraid only of standing still. He who controls others may be powerful, but he who has mastered himself is mightier still. Life's greatest journey is the journey inward. A man who doesn't live his purpose is living someone else's. Wisdom does not come overnight, but it can be lost in a moment of pride. Seek clarity, for clarity will guide you in all things. A man is not finished when he is defeated. He is finished when he quits. The wise man makes adjustments. The foolish man makes excuses. Be like water, formless and adaptable. Don't cling to the past, for the past is already gone. A man of wisdom knows when to speak and when to be silent. Success is a journey, not a destination. We all have two lives, and the second begins when we realize we only have one. True strength lies in gentleness and understanding. Happiness comes when your work and words are of benefit to others. In seeking wisdom, the first step is silence. The second is listening. The wise man stays calm in the face of anger. Knowledge can be learned. Wisdom must be earned. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. The heart that gives gathers. He who talks more is sooner exhausted. Your own heart knows the answer. Seek not validation from the world. The only true failure is the failure to try. He who knows enough is enough will always have enough. An inch of time is worth an inch of gold. The wise build bridges, while the foolish build walls. Success is when you no longer chase what others say is important, but what your heart knows to be so. Do not focus on the obstacles, focus on the goal. A man's true power is measured by how he handles his failures. A quiet mind is a powerful mind. Do not let your happiness depend on material things. True wisdom lies in the acceptance of change. He who thinks too much accomplishes little. Inner peace is the greatest victory you can achieve. A man who is content is never poor. To err is human. To learn from it is wisdom. Live simply, so that others may simply live. He who reflects on his actions daily will improve continuously. True courage is in facing one's own fears. Let go of your ego, for it is the root of all suffering. A man who seeks wisdom is never truly alone. Anger is like holding a hot coal with the intent of throwing it. You are the one who gets burned. The road to wisdom begins with the first step of humility. In seeking happiness for others, you find it for yourself. He who holds on to grudges holds on to suffering. Time humbles those who thought they had all the answers. In youth, we chase what glitters, but in age, we treasure what lasts. The quiet man learns the loudest lessons. It's easy to climb a mountain, but hard to conquer your own heart. True wisdom is knowing that some battles are won by walking away. Men often realize too late that rushing through life means missing it. The simplest path is often the hardest to find. Strength is not in holding on, but in knowing when to let go. In seeking to dominate the world, we lose control of ourselves. The deepest regret is not for things we did, but for the things we never attempted. The most profound teachings are learned in silence, not speech. We often grow old before we grow wise. The heart's true wealth is found in giving, not gathering. A man's greatest defeat is letting pride blind him to his own faults. Chasing status is like chasing shadows, fleeting and elusive. You only discover what you truly need when you lose what you thought you couldn't live without. The seeds of peace are planted in moments of restraint. A calm mind builds more than strong hands ever will. It is better to lose an argument and gain a friend than to win and lose one. Many men learn too late that the hardest chains are the ones they forge themselves. The value of time is only understood when you realize how little you have left. The weight of unspoken words can burden the soul more than any spoken regret. Chasing after the wind only leaves you empty-handed. True strength is not in how much you can hold, but in what you can release. In the haste to grow up, we often forget how to live. A man's wealth is not in his possessions, but in his contentment. The lesson learned too late is that simplicity is the ultimate luxury. Some of the best paths in life are found by getting lost. Peace within creates peace without. The greatest enemy is the mind that refuses to change. A wise man builds bridges with silence, not words. It is not the storm that destroys you, but the refusal to bend. Only when the mind is still does the heart speak clearly. True victory lies in overcoming oneself. A man who has mastered patience has mastered everything. Happiness isn't found in a faraway place. It's created in the present moment. Many men spend their lives climbing a mountain, only to realize they've scaled the wrong peak. The river that flows quietly runs deep. A wise man knows that success is an illusion without peace of mind. Often the hardest battles are the ones fought in silence. True freedom comes not from resisting life, but from flowing with it. By holding grudges, we hold ourselves in the prison of the past. A man grows richer by what he lets go, not by what he holds on to. The emptiest moments in life come when we realize the true cost of distraction. There is no wisdom in fighting the inevitable. Real strength is measured by the heart, not the hand. Time teaches all men, though some listen too late. To master life, one must first master the self. The road to wisdom often begins in the quiet of regret. It's not the mountain that wears you down, but the pebbles in your shoes. Happiness comes not from what you gather, but from what you give away. A man who seeks control over others will lose control of himself. True power comes from understanding the limits of one's own strength. The heart often knows what the mind tries to forget. In rushing toward tomorrow, we often miss today. A man finds his peace not in avoiding storms, but in learning to sail through them. The most difficult truths to face are those that reflect ourselves. Contentment is the wealth that cannot be stolen. Some men chase after dreams, only to realize they were already living them. A wise man fears not the future, for he has prepared in the present. It is not the years that age us, but the weight of the regrets we carry. By simplifying our desires, we enrich our lives. Many men learn too late that the hardest chains are those they place upon themselves. Only in stillness does the river reflect the sky. The heart speaks louder than the mind ever will. The greatest victories are those fought within. What you chase today will flee tomorrow if it's not meant for you. A content heart is a man's true wealth. In seeking to impress others, we lose ourselves. A man learns too late that life is not about the moments he captures, but the moments he lives. By clinging to anger, we grasp thorns, not roses. He who faces the truth within fears no truth from without. The deepest wisdom is found in the smallest moments. The river of life flows whether we swim against it or let it carry us. True greatness comes not from what we take, but from what we give. The greatest gift we can give ourselves is the ability to change. The emptiest day is the one spent without reflection. True peace comes when we no longer feel the need to prove ourselves. It's not the size of the wave, but how we ride it that defines us. A man who knows himself needs no validation from others. Wisdom is not gained in years, but in lessons learned. Success without integrity is a failure in disguise. The greatest journey is often the one back to yourself. It is better to walk alone than with a crowd going the wrong way. The man who faces himself never faces defeat. In the end, what we remember is not what we gathered, but what we gave. Contentment is the richest treasure of all. The heart that knows peace sees through the eyes of wisdom. Men often realize too late that the race was against themselves. You cannot find peace by avoiding life. The most important battles are fought within the soul. By taming the mind, one conquers the world. What you cling to may be the very thing that holds you back. True wisdom is not in knowing, but in doing. The path to peace is found in letting go of the need to be right. It is not the wind, but how you set your sails that determines your course. In learning to forgive others, we free ourselves. The true wealth of a man is measured by the peace he carries within. A man grows when he realizes the greatest battles are fought in silence. True wisdom comes from listening, not speaking.